I believe how perfect the conditions are there. This little log turned out to be just what I thought it might be. And it's a home for a bass. This one feels a lot bigger than the last one, that's for sure. G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. Headed back south another 3 hours this week, down to a freshwater lake. For those of you who don't know or are not aware from overseas, we've had major flooding in southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales. And we had a metre of rain over about a 3-day period, and more than that in other areas. So a fair bit of flooding. The estuaries are now all absolutely blown out. A lot of debris coming down rivers. There's been reports of dead fish at the bottom of the estuaries and so forth. You can imagine a lot of plastics and all sorts of rubbish flowing into the actual estuary system. So I decided to give those a miss this week. Come back into an inland lake. This one's probably on the edge of where it was flooding and so forth. I can see on some of the roads coming into here that there was damage to the roads themselves. But the rivers and the creeks feeding into these sort of lakes are running lovely and clear again, which is great. So I'm going to head up to the other end of this particular lake. There is a river that comes in at the top of it, so we'll head up there. And there's some flatter banks, and we'll look for a camp spot for the night. About halfway down the lake now. The clarity of the water here is actually quite nice. It's probably a good metre you can see under the water, looking at the end of my paddle. Very little in the way of debris. There's a few water lilies that have been washed down. Big bunches of them floating in the water. Other than that, not a lot of sticks and leaves or branches, logs, anything like that. No man-made product, which is even better. So yeah, it all bodes well for a really good trip. It's interesting as you come on the banks, so you start looking, ooh, there's got to be fish in there, and ooh, there's got to be fish in there. You start thinking about some of the places you want to come back to in the evening with the rod, start doing a bit of flicking, so really looking forward to that. Well, this looks promising. We've got a lovely stand of trees here. Just looking for a nice little flat spot. Thinking about minimalist camping, of course, we don't need much room. Just 2 metres by 1 metre would be enough. So that's enough room for a tent. Well, we've been up and down this lake looking for nice flat spots like this, but unfortunately all those sorts of areas are very, very swampy. You can see a whole lot of debris here from the floods and so forth. I've actually just come back to this spot. I found this spot earlier, but I'll keep that as a backup. See a lovely log there to sit out and look over at the evening as the sun goes down later on. But what I'm looking at is this little spot up in here. Probably looks better on the camera than it actually is. It comes down at a bit of an angle this way, so that'll do. It's a flat enough spot, it's enough room for a tent. Enough room here for some gear and so forth. And as I said, we can just set ourselves up with a campfire down here at the lake, which will be quite nice. And beautiful bird life getting around. That's always a great sign. So I think the go is we set up camp, get the tent set up and so forth, put the bedroom in, all that type of stuff. Might have a cheeky beer and then wait for the evening to come, or we'll head back out in the canoe. Did spy a couple of nice spots across the other side in amongst the reeds and so forth that we can cast a few lures into. So yeah, I'm just gonna get the tent set up and the camp set up, get myself organised, and then we can relax into the evening. And as I said, hopefully if this wind dies off a little bit, we'll get across the other side and flick a few lures around and see if we can't get a bass for dinner. Cheers, guys. Well, it's a stunning afternoon out in the lake now. Wind's just all started to drop off. Still fairly steamy from all the moisture in the air and on the ground, but just beautiful. How glorious is that view? Just on 4:30, so I'm just going to have this quick beer and then we'll gear ourselves up. The rod's all set up and ready to go, but you've got to throw myself back into the canoe. And as I said, we'll go and find some shady spots. There's some rock walls back around behind me here as well. We might sneak around to there and see if we can drum ourselves up some dinner. I have to say, this is ridiculously nice out in the lake this evening. Just stunning. Heading down to the rock wall first because that'll be in the shade. Flick a hard body little into there, see if we can catch some dinner. And then we'll sort of work our way back around to the camp as we come back along here, flicking into these beautiful water plants and so forth. And any structure that we can find along the way as well. I've got to tell you, fish or no, this is just beautiful. This will amaze me when you're trolling, that fish will just grab the lure and just roll along behind you. There's something here. Little bass. Hello, little fella. I don't think he's going to be sized, guys. That's a good start to the evening, though. No, the lure works. Get this guy off and throw him back in. Alright, still on my way to the rock wall, but just found myself a little fallen tree in there in a little shady corner. Just going to have a little flick around here and see if there's anything here. Ooh, something had to go with it then. Bit of a bite. This lure certainly casts beautifully. Well, unfortunately, we are running out of light. The rock wall was a lot further than I thought it was, so all good. We did get the one bass, it's just too small, so still the lure trolling at the back. And I'll go back to where these reeds were and have a couple more flicks just before I get back into camp. And we'll chuck some dinner on. And hopefully, like last week, we'll get out early and catch a bass for breakfast. A bit disappointing. Unfortunately, getting to the lake here was unfortunately very, very late. I didn't turn up here till about 1 p.m. I should say. So yeah, way too late for getting out and paddling around and getting camp set up and so forth. But that's alright, I've got a whole day here tomorrow. Family commitments have got me free tomorrow and busy this morning, so we'll get a good session on the lake in the morning and certainly give all the nooks and crannies a good work over. Well, we just got ourselves a nice little shanshare. I'm not sure if you can see the big rainbow behind me or not. First I thought it was bugs on the water, but looked around and saw the rainbow. Beautiful. Makes for very interesting fishing conditions. A nice log just sitting in the water here I'm trying to get around. You'd think there'd have to be bass in here somewhere. Well, this little log turned out to be just what I thought it might be. And it's a home for a bass. This one feels a lot bigger than the last one, that's for sure. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. Much better. Oh yeah. Much better bass. There we go. Let's get a look at this guy. No, he's still a bit too small, unfortunately. Try to avoid grabbing the fish if I can, just to get their oils on them, but yeah, he's a much better size, that's for sure. But too small to eat. But I was right, that log does hold a fish, so that's good to know. Well, we've got one on the reeds here again, guys. Fortunately still, oh, I'm about to say it doesn't, oh, he's just jumped off, the little bugger. We know there's fish in here. Just on the edge of the reeds here. Well, outside of the fish, that is just one stunning sunset. Just heading back to camp now. We'll get around the corner, have another flick. Give it another couple of goes. Won't give up just yet. Almost 6 p.m. Beautiful little bird just in front of me in the water. You probably can't pick it up, it's too small, but he's a very cute little guy. Well, isn't this cozy? Sitting under the flap of the tent. Unfortunately, I didn't put the fly up today, so I'm literally just tucked in here making some dinner. I'm going to do that. Not probably the best place to be filming, so I'm just going to make a burger up here. Pretty straightforward and simple. And I'll tuck myself up into bed and I'll chat with you good guys in the morning. Or maybe later on if it dries out again, but we'll see how we get on. You're not going to believe it, it all went pear-shaped. I got the roll out and it was mouldy. Been sitting on the bench all week. And the rain started pouring into the frying pan as I'm trying to cook the burger as well. So I abandoned ship, it absolutely poured down. Abandoned ship, pulled everything inside of here. So tonight for dinner it will be cheese and crackers, nice cold beer and a bit of chocolate and a book. So yeah, luckily we got a nice dry tent. Didn't get the fly up today or the tarp unfortunately. Just wasn't a good place to do that here. That's all right. This is the first time I've actually been rained out at a campsite, so, you know, can't complain, guys. It's been a brilliant day and a brilliant evening fishing, so anyway, I'm just going to have some cheese and crackers, read a book, and I will see you good folk in the morning. Cheers. Well, that was one crazy night. Seriously botched dinner and lots and lots and lots of rain. As I said in the tent though, look, I've had it 100% dry pretty much, guys, since I've been camping for the last 18 odd months. So really can't complain about weather. So we've woken up to a beautiful still morning. Lots of thick fog. It's just starting to clear now with a little breeze. I'm just heading over to a little inlet where a little river comes in, just to do a bit of a flick around, see if we can catch ourselves some breakfast. Well, no luck so far. I think I want to do a beeline down for the rock wall and work my way back similar to what I did last night. This time just go straight down there. Do a bit of trolling on the way and see if there's some bigger bats in along that wall. There's certainly bats in here, we've caught them, but just need something of size for breakfast. Something very magical about paddling around in fog, watching it lift off the water. It's the colour coming back into the trees around you. Really magical time of day. Well, this is the little rock face I was talking about. Just talked to another kayak. I said there was some fish here biting before or snapping around on the rocks. So just going to ease up here and then flick a couple of lures in. There's another set of rocks over to my right here that I'll go over to in a second as well. They're still in the shade, which would be even better. Unfortunately, I'm just a little bit late on the water down here. It's a lot further than I remembered. That's all right. Just changed to a little surface lure, just to see if they'll take this on the surface. Well, no joy this morning. Just got up with another fisherman in a kayak and saying that they had not caught a thing, not even a sniff. Been up and down the same waterway this morning like me, nothing at all. Friend had said that they'd caught some eels and catfish on live bait, but nothing on lures, so looks like I might have been lucky to get those 2 bass yesterday. I've still got the double clutch out the back, so we'll see how we go heading back to camp. Well overdue for a coffee and some breakfast. We'll head back out again. Well, we've tried the hard body lure, we've tried the crankbait, we've tried the surface lure, still no joy. I've got the double clutch at the back now, just doing some trolling. Have a look at these conditions. Well, back at camp and first coffee for the day at 9:30. It's the latest I've ever had a coffee, I have to say. No luck with the fishing. Very interesting this morning. 3 different type of lures: surface lure, little crank, hard body down the bottom, and a double clutch, but not a sniff of a fish, but that's okay. Just gonna have this coffee and then head back down towards the river end of the lake. And as I said, I've got a little frog here. I might just put that on as well and chuck that in amongst the reeds and the water lilies and so forth, and see if we can't pull something out of that area. But I have to say, it's just another gorgeous, stunning day here in Queensland. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the view and have this coffee. Nice to get that first coffee. Just heading down towards the actual mouth of the river itself where it joins the lake. I'm just going to flick this frog in amongst all these plants on my right hand side amongst the bank. Let's see if we can't drag something bigger out of the shallows. So this is a little inlet, a little creek runs in that I spied last night. I'm going to come back in here with a frog lure. Just in amongst all these weeds and so forth, see if we can pull something out. I've already had a few flicks around with it, no success. If that doesn't work, we'll go back to the hard body we were using yesterday. You know that definitely works. Well, now we've got the opposite problem of last night in that we got too much light. Almost 11 o'clock, so running out of shady spots to cast this hard body into. Might head back to camp, check everything in the canoe, and then work my way back down, just looking for those shady spots, structure and so forth. But still love to catch a big bass. Alright, camp is broken. Let's head back down this lake and hunt some more bass. We know we can catch them. As I said earlier, the person in the kayak fishing said that they thought there might be just too much food in the lake at the moment because of all the storms and floods and so forth. But having said that, I was re-caught yesterday evening, so not the best time of the day, midday of course, to catch big fish, but we will give it a red hot go. Well, devastating news. Lost my favourite lure. Well, not my favourite, my newest lure I should say. The one I caught the fish with yesterday. That nice crankbait. Flicked him up an elder tree, didn't I? That's alright. Just swap back over for the middle vibe. A nice shady spot here. Nice log behind me, but it's just very hard to park a canoe, unfortunately. They don't stop where you want them to stop. Well, that was a fabulous overnighter. Very, very enjoyable. No more bass on the way back. That's just fine. We know what to catch them with now, so I'll get myself a couple more of those lures. Really appreciate everyone's support on the channel. Picked up a lot of new subscribers in the last couple of weeks. Welcome to everyone who subscribed. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Greatly appreciated, and all the views. And I'll wrap it up here, and I look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.